OBS has been pretty good. I say that and then boom, it crashes. YouTube Studio. Good morning. Content. Let's see. We're going to go live and then we're going to go on. I have not been great on earnings calls this time. I've just been okay. Nothing crazy. Let's see. Close. Yeah. If you didn't see, Uber. Morning, Joshua. I bought Uber last night. Let me log in so I can see some of your comments and stuff. Oh, okay, you. And then, there we go. Hit the thumbs up. Morning, Chris. Morning, Mike. I bought Uber. If you didn't see, I mean, the algorithm got you out. And this is, everybody asked me, well, your algorithm's so good. How do you use it? Blah, blah, blah. It's a guide. It's a guide. Those earnings yesterday were unbelievable. And the only thing that they did was write down. I bought around 64. I bought more. Didn't buy much. No. And I haven't gone over ARM yet. ARM's just overpriced. I mean, I went over it yesterday. If you go to the earnings estimates and you go over to ARM, they didn't have anything horrible. It was good. It's just overpriced. I mean, the Paul, the problem, Larry, the problem with ARM is nothing more than, look, SoftBank launched it and they got pushed up into a short squeeze. I mean, we can go and look at it. Take a look at this, Paul. So if you take a look at this, shares outstanding 1.03, shares floated 1.02, but I think SoftBank owns another like 4 billion shares or something. The PE is crazy, 1,356. How is that realistic? I mean, you IPO'd around 40, I think, 41. How's that realistic? To go from 40 up to 150, 160. Let's see. High was 164. APP was a good one. Man, APP was just good. It was a good. But ARM, I'm not going to go over it too much so Paul. I stick by my theory. It's just overpriced. I mean, that's it. When it got under 100, do you want it? I mean, they made good earnings. Look, you got increase, but it's only their third earnings. It's not like they've been killing it for a long time. But I do like it. Let me see, do that. They don't let me see it. Oh, okay. Ooh, I was going to say 0. I'll upgrade for 0. $1. Hold on. Okay. I don't know why you want to go under. Do you want this one? That's a lighter blanket. You won't throw up there. This is a heavier blanket. Okay? I'm not going to sit there and wait for you to decide which one you want to get into. Okay. Yeah, I know it's hot under there. It's hot. It's getting hot in here. GCT beat. I mean, that 6.45% doesn't look horrible, but look at that graph. Earnings per share. Look at that graph. That's great. So, but they're not getting, incredibly rewarded for it. So, earnings season is just, it is what it is this time. It's a hard thing to do. Roblox killed it. Missed on revenues, but killed it earnings per share. They're getting killed. Roblox is down 27%. Hopefully you sold over 40. Do not come at me if you're still holding this one because it got over 40. And I mentioned it yesterday. Do not come at me with that one. Let's do some scans. ARM guidance in line, and they killed it on earnings, and yet the stock was down 8% in pre-market. What is it down now? It's down 6%. So, Paul, I don't think it's that. Those are my notes. Yeah, and Scott, thank you for the nice. I have 3 alpha picks that really popped. I have that in my notes, and I'll put it in the newsletter. Definitely worth the investment. It was worth the 99. I mean, when I told you guys that I couldn't believe they were selling the portfolio for $99 at that point in time. B, I couldn't believe when they up the price to $499. So it was a super deal for 1 year. The renewal, I'd say, well, cancel and then sign up so I get the commission again. Sign up under a different email address next year. Just start a Gmail account and forward. That's what I do. PanW's back under 300. I think that one is Zscaler got killed. What is Zscaler down? Let me see. Oh, it's not down that much. Zscaler's not down that much. Summary. Because they did announce earnings. Company confirms ongoing possible data breach. It hasn't tumbled though. I mean, that was yesterday. I guess it was all priced into yesterday. It's a strong buy. I found this interesting. Alibaba is a strong buy in the quant. I'm not going to bring it up on the podcast, but so early folks who have joined in, I found this super interesting. Even though the valuation is a C+, growth is a C, profitability A+, because they're making a shit ton of money. Momentum's a C because it hasn't done crap. Revision C+. Now, when you go into valuation and you look at Steve Kress's favorite thing, it's trading 50% below the sector median. Look, PDD is number 1. eBay, JD, Baba. Where's my Etsy? Etsy's probably not even on this list. No. Melly is down here. Yeah, GCT is one that I was hoping it would pop to 45, but it's just at 40. I mean, it's slightly up from where I bought it. I bought it as a dollar cost average. I do think this one is a good one. Yeah, I mean, it's got all the confirmation in the world. It's not like overly crazy. I mean, look at the 200-day on that one. Now, when you go to the weekly, it is a little bit overpriced. Over the 50-day, you don't have it, but you have these Bollinger Bands cinching up. The Bollinger Bands are going. I mean, this day, for some reason, that was an 8% candle. I don't know why. I mean, that's a 32% candle. This week, it's a 3% candle. Oh, I'm in shop as well. I'm in shop, and I mentioned it, and I'll mention it on the podcast. I bought Uber yesterday. Shopify, I believe that $80 is where it's going to be. You have an inside afternoon candle, which, it is expected with that kind of big move. So it's nothing crazy. I just don't know where the direction goes here. And that's the problem with Shopify is I don't know if we're going lower. Now, I will say this. The weekly on Shopify, you're down here at 62. You're using that 200-day as the resistance. The 200-day just crept over that $80 mark. So your 50-day is still positive. Your 200 is still positive. That 9 and 21 are coming down as we speak. I just think Shopify is one of those where the management constantly under-promises and over-delivers. And I think that's a theme. So I like it. And it's, again, the reason, and I said this before, the reason we have the core portfolio, and you can follow it on Savvy Trader, savvytrader.com/daily stock pick, and you can go to it. And the reason you have the core portfolio is not the trading portfolio, but the core portfolio. The reason you have the core portfolio here is we'll extend it. 35 positions. I don't think you get too killed on these names. Now, Boeing's still in there. Boeing may come out because I just don't trust that company. Roblox is in there because you trade it around $40. Again, there's $26 that Roblox is at. I mean, has the ball been taken out away from the metaverse and it's now an AI? Probably. You look at UNH at 503. I mean, under $500. I think that's a great buy under 500. I think we may, if a huge breach like that doesn't take Roblox down. SPMO. What the hell is SPMO? Let's see. It's a momentum ETF. I mean, it's just a momentum ETF. SPMO, let's see. It's trying to do the 4-hour on it. So what it does is it just takes stocks that are high momentum, meaning just, if they're trading well, this one does it. It's not a bad one. I mean, it's large growth. Let's look at the holdings. You look, NVIDIA's on a roll, Apple's on a roll, Microsoft's on a roll, Meta, Amazon, Lilly, Broadcom. Those will, I don't know how often they change it. You'd have to look at the investment thesis. But managed by invest in equities in the United States, the fund invests in stocks of companies operating across the fund is invest in momentum stocks of large companies. The fund seeks to track the performance of the S&P Momentum Index by using full replication techniques, Invesco. So it's tracking the S&P momentum. Ultra buffer. I mean, it's got a fairly low expense. I mean, 0.13 isn't the lowest in the industry, but you can take a look at that one. Over 1 year, it's up 43%. It's not bad. I mean, Tyler, I wouldn't necessarily, throw the world at this one, but look at the performance. I mean, you look at 5 year, it's up 102%. If you're doubling your money in 5 years, that's a pretty good. That's what ARK's mission is. Typically, the S&P will double your money in 7 to 10 years, I believe. 3 years, 42%. 1 year, 43%. Timing matters because 6 months you're up 33%. Again, it's being driven by NVIDIA. But I'd look at the investment thesis. It's not something that I would, hey, oh my God, you've got to get into this one. But here, the algorithm makes you 48% versus 43% buy and hold. It got you in at 76. You're at 79. It got you out with a nice 26% gain April 9th. So it's just a momentum. So I think it's going to constantly be changing, and depending on which stocks it picks. But I will tell you, that scares the fuck out of me with an ETF. When you've got that much volume around an ETF, that changes there on a weekly basis, that just tells me we're setting ourselves up for a fall. People are going to start taking profits, because if you got in here at 68, okay, that's, it was trading around 77 when the volume really started February 19th. And we look, if we pull this to where the volume really picked up, okay, these are the weeks where the volume really picked up. Let's see where it's trading at. The volume, the biggest volume shelf is at 79, around $80. So unless the market moves higher, those stocks that are in the holdings move significantly higher, and you get a high amount of ads on this one, there's a lot of people who might be losing money on this, because if they change the top holdings or something, it's just, again, ETFs are ETFs. You got to look into the details of them. And Chris, I'm the same way. Shop is just one that I'm going to wait on. It didn't give me any kind of, if you look at the 5-minute on it, yesterday, it didn't give me any idea that it was filling this gap against Uber, which when you look at a 5-minute, it's going to go to the 4-hour. But when you look at a 5-minute, that chart is much different than Shopify. That gives me hope that we're going to fill this gap up to 70. So I put a little money in. I'll wait to see what we do today. Today it's at 66.90. It starts filling at 67. So if we hit 67, I'm going to buy a shit ton more. Because I do think that this particular stock, I think there was nothing wrong with earnings yesterday. So, okay, let's do some scans. Because I have got severe thunderstorm, so I don't know if I'm going to lose power or not. But tornado watches here in Atlanta. Ooh, energy, MPLX got a cross up. Coke and Pepsi got a cross up. MPLX, that's up 1.15%. Jeez. And that's after getting that nice div. Look at how the dividend takes down, and it just comes right back. I mean, that is just a textbook energy stock. How to look at that one. David Zaslav from Warner Brothers. Wells Fargo. That's the next one. Yep. That's the only one in my brokerage. I do some personal stuff here. BITW. I think that one has been kind of fluttering. Yeah. It's been crossing up, crossing down. I mean, you're going to get a bunch of stuff there. And I'll leave those out. It's Thursday. I don't want anybody buying those going into a weekend. MPC, XLE, BTU, Sunoco, levered ETFs, nothing. Low cost Vanguard, nothing. Spider sectors, we just saw XLE. That's the only one. Watch list. Do JP Morgan. Sunoco and SMC. JP Morgan. I think this was down. Yeah. I mean, this dipped below 200. You had that nice, earnings dip down to 189. Filled the gap. This is what I'm seeing for Uber. Great post-earnings gap fill. That's the watch list. Let's see my not owned, because I still have some stuff in here. Yup. UPS, Merck, DQ. Merck has been one. I mean, God, talk about defensive. It's been pretty good the past few days. I mean, 126, 129. It's not crazy, but yeah, it's not a horrible one. Okay, Dow. Coke, Merck, JP Morgan. Let's do NASDAQ. Lynn, Energy, and Pepsi. We've got Pepsi already. Okay, S&P 100. Merck, Lynn, Coke, UPS, Wells Fargo. Okay, we got it. Boom, boom, boom. We've got our scans. We're going to go back here. 4 hour. QQQ. Here we're just looking at this year. I don't want to go back to October. We're just looking at this year because we almost have a half a year on this one. Oh boy. Okay. Let's open up some of these. Brian has been killing it on his analysis here. Brian's been doing great. Here is another reason I bought Uber, that I'm happy that I bought Uber. Palantir. Okay. And that's what I've got going on. Whoa. Wow. Insider sale. Who is that? That's the chief product officer. Option exercise and sale. May 6th of $36 million worth. $299. And at 304. Dude, look at this. This is crazy. The EVP, he sold, I mean, that's a $5 difference. That's like $500,000. He got some on May 6th at $299. He sold 5,000 more at 304. If he had just waited a day, that's 500,000. Now he doesn't care. That's $36 million. I mean, let's be honest. $36 million and 500,000. That's a nice 10%, 12, 13%. But that's a big, big sale. Big sale. Average price target, 334. You're trading at 303. I think in pre-market, you're under 300. Let's see. Anything in the core portfolio that stands out as, oh my God, MPLX up 1%. FNW down 1%. Qualcomm up 1%. Shopify up 1%. Uber up 1%. Okay. Hit that thumbs up button. I'm going to hit record and we're going to get going. I usually say good morning, but this morning we're throwing it back 80 style. Voila! I think I saw that commercial last night. I just so you know, I'm watching the Bon Jovi documentary on Hulu, so I got an 80s kind of vibe. Voila! So we're gonna go wah. Yeah. Yesterday, I mean, earnings season has been crazy. Earnings season has been nuts. Roblox, we'll get into it. I hope you got out when it was at 40. It hit 40 yesterday. I hope you got out of that one. Again, we talked about it. Trading that one. GCT reported great earnings. Is it getting rewarded? Nope. Not a ton. Not like you would think. We got Marrow. We got Frog. We got Clean Spark. We've got a bunch that are out there today. SoundHound, which is expected. This is not making money. I mean, they're reported 7 cents per share loss, but you're seeing the revenue going up. I mean, you can see the stock probably going up if they even post to anything. You got Mara. They missed by 150% last time. This stock has been decimated. Should be back at 26 at some point in time. I think that'll be interesting. You've got Unity Software. You've got JFrog. You got a ton of earnings today. Won't go over too many of those because it's Thursday. I will go more in reverse because I think that's more important. If your stock hasn't been reported, or if you want me to look at some earnings next week, just let me know. Comment down below on Spotify. Comment down below on YouTube. Comment down below anywhere. Get in contact with me. My link tree is down below. Right here, there's an email address. If you don't have any social media, you can email me. If you don't have email and you send up a smoke signal, with the letters. Send me a carrier pigeon, whatever you want to do. But here, how are we doing on the Qs? Well, it's baby candles. I mean, we talked about it. It's baby candles. You still have confirmation. You still have a MACD that's going up. It's getting a little bit high. RSI at 61. You're getting a little bit overbought there. What about the weekly candle? Doesn't mean that, we pull back here. The weekly candle, it's a baby candle. The period this week, we opened at 437. We closed at 440. Okay. Right now we are at, let's see, I got to pull this up real quick. We are at 440 and 80 cents. It's baby candles. Look at the bigger candles that we saw back in April. I'll go over a couple of things. There's one sector that is just outperforming unbelievably, and I'll do that in the first segment. But there's nothing that tells me that where we're going. Earnings, unless you are beating and guiding higher, you are not getting incredibly rewarded. It's just, So where are we going? Well, the first thing that you can see today, initial jobless claims rise more than expected. Jobless claims rise more than expected. Bad news is good news. The reason is good. This is good for the market, as a weakening jobs number might trigger more rate cuts. That's essentially it. Does that mean 100% short? No. Inflation is still there. They want to stay higher for longer. So where are we going? There's no real kind of, trigger. I've said it before that this April 1st candle, where the MACD was super high, the RSI was over 50, we were overbought, is super similar to this July. Where did we go from July? Well, we kind of stumbled around. We went up back in August. You had this nice little run up, but then you tanked 10% into the October lows. If we go back to the October lows, you're looking at about 400 on the Qs. The Bollinger Bands are cinching up. They seem to be telling us that we're going to go somewhere. Just don't know where yet. It's baby candles. You can't tell on a baby candle. So from a technical standpoint, I can't tell where we're going. I do think that we have rate cuts this year, at least one. I don't think that we get zero. I think we get one. They're dying to cut. So where would that take the market? In my mind, that would take the market up. But there's a lot of unforeseen. Say we have more bank failures. There was a guy on CNBC yesterday that I listened to while I was walking, and he said we're going to have more bank failures. So we don't know where we're going. Do you want to lay out your money? No. Do you want to take some profits? Perhaps. Brad Gerstner, who I listen to all the time, he was on there saying he's taking some profits in NVIDIA. He's taking some profits in some of those high flyers. Maybe that's something you want to do, because if we start to see bank failures and if we start to see breakage of something, then you could get hurt. Long-term investors, it depends on your horizon. If you're looking out 1 or 2 years, there is no way you want to trim. If you're looking out 5 years, there is no way you want to trim. You want to start adding. If you're looking in the next 6 months, you absolutely want to trim. You want to take your profits because there's a potential that you could buy lower. But if you're just kind of sitting there and you're like, hey, I don't know exactly what I want, that's where I am, with a portion of my portfolio. I just don't know what I want. So I'm looking at opportunities. There's some great stocks today that I'll go over where it's like, hey, we knew when to trade them. Roblox, FYI, we knew when to trade it. Uber, it was a great quarter. I bought Uber. I'll go over why. But yeah, initial jobless claims down. More than they expected. So that's a good thing. This is the sector that I wanted to talk about, XLU. And I want to show you just over 1 month how XLU has outperformed everything. XLU is up 7%. 7% over 1 month. Timing matters. We'll go over the chart on TrendSpider, but this is Seeking Alpha that I'm looking at. And this is how you compare it. I compare it against the S&P 500, XLK, XLG, which is the S&P Top 50, VOO, which is just the S&P 500, and then QQQ. XLU beats them all. That's over 1 month. If you were to go, and again, I would urge you, sign up for Seeking Alpha Premium. This is how you look at these things. You can go to 6 months. Well, XLU is underperforming. It's not like you want to time this thing. We go to year to date. XLU is outperforming everything on this sector, on this chart. If you go to 1 year, it is underperforming by a lot. So time frame matters. If we go over to TrendSpider, and TrendSpider's having a sale, I'll go over that. But just so you know, this is available to you, this kind of stuff. And I will show you what I've said in the past about XLU. Look at this. The algorithm gets you in on April 19th, $65. Nice gap fill. We went down. Does it time it down here at the bottom? No. April 16th, you were down here at 63. Would have been good to get in. Absolutely. At $65, the algorithm over 24 months, you have 30 positions in XLU. Your average win is 3%. But boy, that's good because over 24 months, you make 12%. If you're a utilities guy, again, that's 12% just in the stock. Doesn't include the big dividend that you get. But if you're just a utilities guy and you want to buy and hold for the income, you've lost 0.6%. You've probably gained overall because you do get a decent dividend with this. But let's go to the weekly. This is the key. I over the period of the last couple of years, I've said, hey, XLU trades within this range. I'm going to pull it back so we can see the whole thing. Because look at this range that we've traded in it's a super long history. This goes back to, 2012. What? 22 years? 22 years. We've been in that range. The only reason this goes down to this range is because of COVID. Then you have the October 2022 lows, 2023 lows, where we hit the bottom. Did you want to trade this? Absolutely, you want to trade it. And now, when you got to January 1st, we saw a huge drop in utilities again. But if you bought down here, not a bad place to buy. Again, you have 35% to the top. How much do you have to the top now? Well, if we're at 70 and you get to the top here, the top of this thing, it's 11% up. Do you want to buy this? utilities are pretty strong right now. So buying into strength, you probably want to go to something like, XLU, and we can look at the holdings and look at the top holding, NextEra Energy. And if we go and look at NextEra Energy and we look at it, it's a buy in the quant, it's a buy on Wall Street, it's a buying seeking alpha analyst. And the only problem is the valuation. And the valuation, it's got a D. The peg, a little bit high. Forward peg, not super high, 2.59 versus 2.58. Are you too late in buying this? Well, let's go to Wall Street because the 22 analysts have covered this. 8 strong buys, 8 buys. This is only over the last 90 days. If you take a look at this, the average price target 72. You're trading it, it's 1% downside. So look at the way it's traded. These are the opportunities that Seeking Alpha and TrendSpider can help you find. And that's how you use these tools to try and find it. So I wanted to go into that a little bit about, hey, let's go down a rabbit hole. There are so many rabbit holes that you can go down within, Seeking Alpha and stuff. It is really, really good. Southern Company, I've brought it up a bunch. Duke Energy, I've brought it up a bunch. These are stocks that scan in the scanner, and you get them. Plus, you get a huge dividend on energy stuff, on utility stuff, because that's what utilities are used for. It's for Walter in a rocking chair, where you sit back and forth and you just collect your dividends. It's for income. But at certain times when it's lower, you can absolutely trade it. Carl Quintanilla posted Bank of America desk alert, theme alert, consumer travel spending easing, Expedia, Trip, CSA, Disney parks, moderation and normalization. Uber, slight bookings miss. I would argue that Uber said, hey, we didn't have a slight bookings miss. It was a really good quarter. It was a slight bookings miss just on the expectation. Still rose. And if you want, here is Josh Brown talking about Uber. Play this one. Just go and play this minute 46. Go to. I retweeted it out on Twitter. So if you want to watch it, you can watch it. My Twitter is Daily Stock Pick 3. But Carl Quintanilla posted. Does this mean it means that the consumer's being tightened a little bit? We may have been over that revenge travel trade, but you want to make sure that you have stocks that are still in the travel space. We talked about Airbnb. We can go over Earnings Hub. Airbnb posted earnings after the bell yesterday. Airbnb beat by 86%. 86%. They beat revenue by 3%. Where are we on Airbnb now? Let's see. In pre-market, we are, I think it was up. Pre-market, we're down 7%. And I think it's based on guidance. Airbnb experienced a booking rise, gross rate. It's down 7% after near-term guidance underwhelms. It's the guidance that underwhelmed. But, I use Airbnb. Personally, I just used it on my trip to Utah. We had a great Airbnb. A little bit expensive, but it's still a good Airbnb. The algorithm makes you 37%. Buying and holding makes you 36%. So you have some safety. It got you out. It will get you back in. So do you want to buy at 151? Let's see. It's trading right now at 146. Probably. I mean, you look at the weekly. It's still probably, it's still not at its high. The MACD, a little bit extended, but the highs here are around 200. So I think you need to find which stocks you want to buy. Speaking of that, Palantir. Jim Cramer was asked about Palantir on CNBC last night. Here's what he said. I like the conference call very, very much. I say not to worry that this company is a good company to own right here. Ugh, he just killed it. I say this. Now, Palantir, we've talked about 25 being a resistance until it turns to support. That 25 is right there. You can see that's where the gap is. It hit 25 multiple times over the past couple of months. If we go to the weekly, it's even more clear. You go all the way back here to the days of 2021. 25 was its average price until we just got killed with rate increases. So as the rates increased, the stock went down because they weren't making money. They're making money now. They will be cash flow positive, I believe, from this point forward. So you want to trade this one. Now, are you in it? Well, if we run the algorithm on this one and we say, hey, we want to listen to the algorithm got you out yesterday. Do you want to get back in? RSI 43. In pre-market, you're up. You're kind of even, 21.46. I always like to wait 3 days. Hasn't been 3 days. So I would say early next week, probably a time to buy this one once we know the direction of the market. Again, the direction of the market matters. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about Uber because I saw this. Again, I saw this one. There was nothing big, on Uber yesterday. What they said was they wrote down a bunch of assets. Well, if they didn't sell these assets, what they have to do, and listen to Josh Brown here, he explains it perfectly. But on Uber, why did I buy more? Well, take a look at this. If we go back over here, now it's up 1.2%. I think I'm up about 3% since I bought it. Not a horrible buy, but it's not going to pop. I don't expect it to pop. Take a look at this. The algorithm got you out. Well, Gary, why did you buy it then? Why did you buy it when the algorithm tells you to get back out? Go to the 5-minute chart. You'll see that earnings miss caused a huge gap. What do you see in the 5-minute? You see confirmation and you see it start to pop. You see an increase at the end of the day of volume. I bought it somewhere around here. I think around 64 something, might have been 65. I don't know when. Not too late to get in. This gap goes all the way up to 70. I've said it before. I think this one's an $80 stock. I think 70 is your pivot point. So you want to find these stocks. I had the TV on and I was going to buy Uber, and then Josh Brown pops up and says exactly what he said here. And just watch. It's a minute 46. If you're invested in Uber, just watch it. If you're not invested in Uber, but you're interested, go and watch it. I really like this. I really like this. One that I ordered, I actually ordered dog food from Chewy yesterday. And Chewy was interesting because I have not been a fan of Chewy, and it's been the valuation that has kept me out. And I don't believe that this stock has any hope based on the valuation. But I had a really good experience with Chewy yesterday. And then I took a look at it, and I said the non-GAAP forward peg, it's super low. The profitability is a C, though. I mean, I don't like this, that, gross margin is only growing 28%. Their sector median is 36%. But the app was really good. So I put this on my own personal watch list. I don't think I want it on a daily stock pick for you guys. But I think trading this one might be an interesting one. And so I was like, if it was that good, again, it was better than Amazon. They ship FedEx, which I'm not a huge fan of Chewy for because it probably costs more. But the experience was really, really good. They gave me a ton of discounts for a auto ship, which I'm able to cancel right afterwards, which they gave me, like, I think on a $30 item, it was like a $7 discount, which is huge. I saved a ton of money. Is that something where you want to invest in? Probably not, because these guys probably lost money on this shipment to me. Now, it's about recurring customers with this one. It's about creating that habit. I liked it. I'll probably order again. This is kind of the way you look at these things. Again, I ordered from Chewy yesterday, and I liked the experience. I don't like the stock because of the valuation and the profitability. But I do like it as it gets down here to kind of trade it. And am I hurt by holding it? I don't think so. I don't think this company is going out of business, but I do think it's going to have problems staying profitable. And that's my problem. The average win on this is 9%. You win 37% of the time. So the algorithm doesn't really work. Maybe the 65-minute algorithm works. We can take a look at that one. It's about finding your strategies that work. And this one doesn't work on this one either. You have to find a strategy that works on that stock. So, yeah, Tyler on YouTube says, Chewy customer service is awesome. It's kind of the customer service that here on TrendSpider that they have. I really like the customer service. Again, with TrendSpider, the customer service is top notch. And if you want the 4-hour algorithm, if you want the 65-minute algorithm, use my link tree. Click on the top link and you'll get to this page. It's $582 for the year. I think it's really, really worth it. And you get 6 months free. Pay for the yearly. You pay for 6 months at $582. You get 6 months free. Simple as that. And yes, you can use my algorithm. Yes, I send you the algorithm. I send you the watch list. I send you absolutely everything that you see me do on this podcast. I send it to you. And all you do is import it. It's just a link. But it is housed in TrendSpider. Somebody asked me yesterday, they emailed me, can you use your 4-hour algorithm on an iPhone? Well, the TrendSpider app doesn't allow you to do strategies on but you can see charts, and the charts are spectacular. Typically what I do, and again, I'm a boomer, but on an iPhone, I don't think you can use the Bollinger Bands, the 5 moving averages that I have. I don't think you can see the MACD. I don't think you can see the volume levels, and I don't think you can see the RSI. So personally, I'd rather have a computer screen or an iPad. I do use TrendSpider on my iPad, and I really, really like it. So if you're interested in TrendSpider, sign up there. Let's talk about some earnings. Let's go over Earnings Hub here because Instacart reported. We talked about Instacart yesterday. They beat on everything and killed it. Guided higher. It was down 2% yesterday. Look at that beat. Cart, 1,100. That's not 1,175. That's 1,175% beat because they made a profit and it was 43 cents they were expected to lose. Let's take a look at Cart in the pre-market. Well, Cart in the pre-market, it is it's not doing much. It's down 0.11. What'd they do? Let's take a look at Cart and, in Seeking Alpha, because what happened here? We can take a look at some of the analysts that say stuff. It's not covered in the quant. Earnings call transcript. It beats by 4. DoorDash drops after Uber and Instacart team up. So they announced, Uber, I think, announced on their earnings before Instacart yesterday afternoon that they had some type of, and it's interesting, Daria Kashikawi, who's the CEO of Uber, said, hey, Instacart and DoorDash have overlap because you can order groceries from DoorDash as well. But and what Uber hasn't done with Uber Eats is get an insert into the suburban market. They're very good, Uber Eats, at the city markets, at the urban markets. They're not very good at the thing. It's another reason to buy Uber. They're partnering with Instacart. I really like it. Again, I like this company. I like the stock. Wall Street says, and I think they got a couple of upgrades as well. Average price target, $40, 6.7%. Again, this is kind of a new company, so you don't want to look at it, per se. There's not a lot to tell. I'm not a huge fan of the profitability. I think they do have some problems with gross profit margin, 74% though. I mean, they're making 74%. Their driver's probably making nothing. But again, in pre-market, well, the market just opened up. It's up 2%. It's not getting a ton of coverage, but it's getting enough. Airbnb. We can go back to Earnings Hub here, and we can click on Airbnb. We talked about Airbnb. They killed it. Let's see where they are right now. Airbnb in the pre-market. And again, I'm using Seeking Alpha and Earnings Hub. Earnings Hub is perfect, completely free. Seeking Alpha Premium gives you all this stuff. It's a valuation of D. It's the valuation that's killing it. It's down 5% at 148. I think you do. If you go over to TrendSpider and you say, hey, where is Airbnb in the algorithm? It's not in a bad place. Look at the candle that opened up. I mean, it's green already. Are you going to see a bounce back up? We're going to see a gap. So if you go to the 5-minute, if we just take yesterday's Uber example, take a look at the gap that's formed. Now, if you take a look at the 5-minute, it won't form a gap until 9:35. That's when you're going to see a gap. But you opened at 146. Right now, you're at 149. Your high is 150, so it's probably going to continue to go lower, but it's already oversold. Now, if you wanted to more look into Airbnb, Brian Stoffel, masterful job. He has been killing it through this earnings season, giving you great advice. Airbnb is falling. Here's why I think it's way cheaper than most realize. This was this was just perfect analysis. Roblox. We talked about Roblox. Now, Roblox plummets as it cuts full year bookings forecast. Roblox, we can go over here and we can look at Roblox. They reported this morning. They killed it. 18% above what was expected. They lost 43 cents. It was the guidance. Now, where are they? We can go over to Roblox. Roblox is in the core portfolio. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This was trading at 26 earlier today. It's already at 31. It's starting to come back. Now, do you want to invest in this one? I would wait to see what the 5-minute candles do. It's like I did on Uber yesterday with the 5-minute candles. Wait to see what it does. Again, we're about to get a second candle. It's 9:33 right now. You'll start to see that gap. If you start to see the gap fill, maybe you want to take the chance. I always say, hey, Roblox, I think it's a $40 stock. If they're guiding a little bit down, if they're saying their users aren't there, I think, go back and look at some stuff. Go and look at some analysis on Seeking Alpha about Roblox. Robinhood. We can go over here and we can look at Robinhood. There's Hood. Excuse me. 260% beat. Let me take a drink of water. I got to redo this. I'm going to edit that out. Robinhood. Sorry, I needed water. 260% beat. Beat by 12%. These guys are actually, what did I put? Killed it with record revenue. Assets under management up 65% year over year. Transaction revenue was driven by crypto. It was up 232% quarter over quarter. Now, I am not a fan of this, but they are managing their business really well. Really well. This is up at 19. Okay, it's up 8%. 8%. I'd expect it to come back down. Algorithm makes you 113% versus 93%. Buy and hold. Your average win, 18%. You got in here at 17. If you're listening to the algorithm, you want to look for that 18% to try and look to where you might sell. Well, we're only at 10%. So 18% would bring you up around $20. So if it gets $20 today, I would look to trim if it gets $20 today. If not, just sit there and hold it. I mean, again, if you're buying this one, then you believe in it. I don't believe in it, so I'm not buying it. But trading at that MACD level, at that RSI level, wasn't a bad idea as long as you believe in it. Look at, they killed it on their last earnings. They're doing really, really well. Now let's go over to Earnings Hub and let's look at Duolingo. Duolingo, on the other hand, they only beat by 111%. They beat revenue by 1.15. Let's go over to Seeking Alpha. Well, why is this one getting hurt? And I think it's way down. I think it's the valuation that, it was down 18% in pre-market. You're at $200. Do you want to buy this one? Duolingo call. Duolingo beats top line and updates full year forecast. I think it was that they the forward guidance wasn't great. Look at this one. I mean, they don't have a peg, but they're super, super expensive. And it's probably just, hey, we've had a huge run and we've got to, even though we beat, we're going to pull back. It's under $200. Do you want to buy it under $200? Well, the algorithm got you in at 204. Algorithm doesn't work as well as buying and holding has made you 266% over 24 months. But your average win on this one is 17%. So let's just take a look. If you bought at 204 and you were up here, that was 20% into earnings. Algorithm average win is 17. Should you have gotten out? Absolutely, you should have gotten out. Take your profits and move on because you could buy it now for 17, 20% lower. This is what you want to do. This is how you want to look at it. Now, let's go to the Earnings Hub and let's look at the big one of yesterday, ARM. Beat by 20%. This is only their third earnings. So it's, take it with a grain of salt. They beat by 20%. The revenue up by 6%. Let's go and take a look at this one. If we go and look at ARM, I think they're getting beaten down if I'm not mistaken. ARM, on the other hand, they are, let's see, they're down 4% to 101. So it looks like, again, I'm not a big fan of IPOs, but it does look like you're putting in a fairly good base here at about 100. If we look at $100 right there, that's about $100. If you look at this, that's about where you're putting in a base. So I'd say give it another 6 months or so. And if it's around 100, because if we go over here to Seeking Alpha and we look at this, and this is just the valuation, look at how high these PEs are. I mean, they're 276% above the sector, 4,484 above the sector. The PEG ratio, it's up 5% over the sector. I'm not a huge fan of that kind of stuff. Now, Wall Street says buy. Wall Street says buy. Let's take a look at their average average price target. Average price target is, let's see, 110. So you got 8% above it. But you don't have a lot of history here. There's not a ton of history. So you want to use these tools and you want to look at it. Now, another one that looked really good, KVYO. This is the new consulting company, Clavio. They killed it. Clavio killed it. KVYO. Let's look at where they are in TrendSpider. KVYO. Clavio Services. It's a consulting services company. This one has not done well. You got gaps all over the place. This is a recent IPO just like ARM was. But let's take a look at where they are. KVYO. Clavio. There we are. Let me close that. Clavio and Seeking Alpha. It's not covered by the quant. If we look at it, Wall Street has it as a buy. If you look at this, shares gain as earnings beat, it's up 10%. Because, look at these earnings. They were up 36%. Look at that graph. Look at their earnings per share. It's up. So, again, you've got to pick your stuff. We talked about Roblox. Roblox plummeting. I think this is a $40 stock. We talked about it. Plummets as full year guidance goes. GCT. This is one that I thought would be actually better. Now, again, it's down 10%. GCT, I think this is profit taking. This is just profit taking. I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with this stock. This is an alpha pick at about $31. Algorithm got you in at 38. You're trading right now at 35. I will dollar cost average this one. If we go to Earnings Hub and we look at GCT, look, up 6%. Revenue up 3%. If we go to Seeking Alpha and we look at this one, it's a strong buy in the quant. It just tanked after the bell. And that's all. It just tanked after the bell. Now, the valuation is a D+, but the PEG is, again, their growth. If we look at this on a 5-minute, we've got, two candles now? It didn't create on a 5-minute. It didn't create it didn't create at all. That's an 8%. 8%. This is just profit taking. When you open at 41 and you go down to 37, an 8% drop in the first 5 minutes and then a 6% drop in the next, this is profit taking. There's no gap to fill. We've already filled the gaps. You filled this gap up here at 41. You filled this gap down here at 39. You filled this gap. So where are you going to buy? Well, I would argue that you want to buy anywhere above 30 on this one. I think 30 will provide you a significant support on this. So I'm going to add more. This is crazy. This one just nuts. It's 8% down. But again, that's when you opened up. It was at 41 on that first one. So GCT got killed. I said to watch Hubs yesterday, and this one was interesting. I didn't know this. HubSpot gains amidst report talks with Alphabet are progressing. That's an interesting one. I mean, if we go and look at HubSpot, I think this one was up like 20% or so. This one is up 3% now. But if you look at HubSpot, if we go to the HubSpot is a buy in the quant. If we go and look at this one, it rose 5%. I think it was up like 15% at one point in time, but I could be wrong. I just noticed that this one was up. Their earnings were good. If we go to earnings hub here, and we look at HubSpot right here, look at how much they beat by 12%, 3%. Revenue grew by 23% year over year. If we just go and look at them in Seeking Alpha, you can see it's a buy. Seeking Alpha analysts have it as a sell. They have been, again, you want to take and you want to read these. Again, with Seeking Alpha Premium, you want to read those. So earnings, I'm not going to go over anything going forward on earnings, but you can see we've got Marrow, we've got Frog. I'm not going to go over those. I don't like anything particularly today, but if you want to play them, go to Earnings Hub, go to Seeking Alpha Premium, take a look at these things. You can take a look and you can play whatever chart you want. I mean, honest to God, you can play whatever chart you want. It's actually, it's a pretty good game to play. Usually I'm doing that one. Social request. Let's look. ET, Energy Transfer. This is from Cine, from Spotify. ET. I like ET, and I've liked ET since about I think it was $12, $13. Back here in February, it was, the algorithm makes you 13%. Buying and holding makes you 55% over 24 months. This is natural gas. And the reason I like ET was when we were looking at FinViz, and this was way back when. It was some point in time last year. You look at the PE, it's not crazy at 14. This is an energy, oil and gas midstream. You take a look down here, and this is what I liked. This guy, the executive chairman, I mean, that's not that's $14 million, $14 million. This is close to $100 million when you add up what insiders were buying. They were buying a ton last year. Last year at average price, 12, 13. Now, here's the thing. 12 to 13, it may not sound like a high flyer for you at 16, but look at the dividend. It's 7%. And the only reason it's 7%, it used to be about 9 or 10%, and that was when it was trading lower. So ET I like. Energy I like. I've said it before this week, and I'll say it again. I think energy with AI, specifically natural gas, I think you will start to see natural gas move. And I think it's more the energy to require the data centers for AI. So I do think. Squirrel Monkey on Reddit. APP stopped out this morning's candle, 4-hour trailing stop loss at 21 day. Saw it coming, let it stop out with a 5% gain after getting skunked on shop and pre-market, and it pops on earnings. APP is AppLovin. APP, not SPP. OPP. Since we're in the 80s right now, OPP. I said this before with AppLovin. I put this chart in here, and I said, we're looking for a breakout. And boom, what do you get on your last earnings? We had a breakout up, and we've continued higher. Today, this is up 12.57%. Just a phenomenal small cap company. And if we go and we look at a weekly, it is completely coming back. You will probably see this at 100. At 83, you will probably see this at 100. Just FYI, you will probably see this at 100. I need to get into this one. I've been saying I needed to get into this one since it right here at 40. I mean, if you bought this in January at 40 and you said, oh, the capitulation, that's solid. The Bollinger Band cinched up. I need it to go somewhere. And you just started putting some money in and you bought, $1,000 here at 40. You bought $1,000 here at 45. You bought $1,000 here at 46 or 47. You bought $1,000 here at 50. And then you go and you buy $1,000 here at 59. And then $1,000. All of a sudden, you've got a ton of money that's into this stock that's continuing to go. Now, is it moving too fast, too far? I don't think so. It doesn't have a 200-day. You're well over the 50-day. But this one back here in the highs, if we go over to Seeking Alpha and we look at this one, I think it's a buy, not a strong buy. Oh, it's a strong buy in the quant. Strong buy in the quant. You can take a look at the summary. If we go to valuation here and we can look at the PEG, it's an A, 56% under its peers. 56% under its peers. So I got a message from D-Man on YouTube about looking into Alpha Picks. And Scott on Facebook group posted last night, I have 3 alpha picks that really popped this week. Definitely worth the investment. Alpha picks is fantastic. Alpha picks is not part of the Seeking Alpha Premium. It is separate. Here's the about of alpha picks. It is 2 stocks per month. So you get one on the 1st, one on the 15th. The most recent one was GM. The one before that was GCT. This is long-term buy and hold. So even though GCT is trading down from where it was at 40, it's down at 35. I hope it's still at 35. It might be down below 30. Buy it when it shows actual support and actual momentum back up, because it's not overvalued. But again, too long-term. They tell you when to sell. Look at the performance of the portfolio. Yes, it's expensive. But like Scott says, 3 alpha picks that popped this week based on just his investment. There's 3 ways to do this too. If you go to alpha picks, and you look, there are 3 ways. There we go. Alpha picks. 3 ways to do this. So you're a new subscriber. How can you do it? Pick 5 of them and just put them into your portfolio. Keep them in a separate portfolio. Keep track of them. They are long-term buys and holds. Buy the entire portfolio. Use alpha picks as an idea generation. D-Man actually gave me a great idea, and I thought about it yesterday too. It just so happened that he had mentioned this. He said, hey, it's a lot of money to invest. Why not, for the Daily Stock Pick newsletter subscribers, why not do a deep dive into what you might do with 5 picks today? So my weekend newsletter this weekend, and you get a free 7-day trial if you want to try the paid newsletter. It is going to be 5 alpha picks, and I'm going to take a deep dive into 5 alpha picks that I have or I would invest in, and say, okay, which ones are the 5 that I would invest in now? Because again, that's the first strategy. The second is buy the entire portfolio. I can't go into the entire portfolio. I think it's like 20 or 30 stocks. That's like, come on, that's a week's worth of work for me to look at. And you get the entire portfolio when you subscribe. Or you can just use the alpha picks like I do as an idea generation tool. Read the analysis of each pick and choose the stock that best fits your strategy. If you want alpha picks, use my link tree, the 3rd link down there, and you get $50 off. It's $449. But again, the return, it's about the dollar amount that you put in. So scans, there's 2 scans that I wanted to go over that are part of the core portfolio. Well, one's part of the core portfolio. The other one I really don't like, but again, it is what it is. MPLX. MPLX was up 1.5% earlier today. Seems like it's pulled back. Maybe the market has pulled back. Let me see. Yeah, the Qs are down 0.3, so it looks like we're pulling back a little. Entry on this one, 41.77. MPLX is an energy stock. Now, MPLX provides a very good dividend. So it's not one that you want to buy and you want to trade, but it provides right now with a forward estimate of 8% yield on the dividend. Year to date, you're up 13%. You've got a double top right here at about 42. But I think you push past that. With energy, again, I think you push past that. We can see the double top right here on TrendSpider as well. But you've got a MACD cross up. You've got the RSI at 54. I would say if you can get this under $41, I think it's good. I think it's really good. Another one that I wanted to look at, and the rest of these will be in the newsletter, and it's the free newsletter, not the paid one, but JP Morgan. I thought this was interesting. Because look at this post. I talked a lot about the Uber gap, about stuff like that. But when you take a look at this, look at that gap fill. I mean, look at the earnings gap here from 194 down to 189 on a perfectly good tape. Again, if we go to Earnings Hub and we look at JP Morgan, let's just pull up JP Morgan. I'm not a fan of JP Morgan because of the Epstein stuff. I think Jamie Dimon knew exactly what Epstein was doing, blah, blah, blah. But look at that. They beat by 8% earnings per share. Revenue up 10%. They beat by 10%. That is a good tape. Well, what happened? The stock fell from 194 down to 188. It wound up going down to 180, bouncing off close to that 200-day, and then coming back and filling that gap. Well, what do we have with Uber? Well, we have the same thing with Uber. You have a stock that had really good earnings, reported really good earnings, and you have a gap from 70 down to 64, and you start filling that gap. Where's the gap going to? It's going to 70. A little bit different because you do have the 50-day moving down, so you had a stock that was moving down into earnings. Again, JP Morgan, great post-earnings gap fill. So I'll include all of that stuff. Again, if you want any of this stuff, it's all in my link tree. You can get Webull. Webull, great mobile app. I love their mobile app. In fact, that's where I bought Uber yesterday. Well, I was sitting there. I just bought Uber. I just went on the app and bought Uber. I love it. You can get free stocks too. TrendSpider. We talked about the TrendSpider deal. Just sign up and then email me with a screenshot that you actually subscribed, and I can send you everything to import. It gets you started. Gets you started with the ball rolling. You can make your screen look just like mine. I mean, follow me. Even if you haven't done any of this stuff before, you can do it. What's the second link? It's Seeking Alpha Premium. Again, if you want the quant stuff for every stock, it's Seeking Alpha Premium. I get you 20% off. That's the link that I have. And Alpha Picks, we went over it. It's $449. You save $50 through my link, and it's just 2 stocks per month. So if you're just tuning in and you liked what you saw, maybe you want to do your own work, maybe you don't feel comfortable enough doing your own work, Alpha Picks does the work for you. This does not include Seeking Alpha Premium. It's just Alpha Picks. It's just 2 stocks per month, but you get all of the analysis. That's the key. So if you have any questions, hit me up. I will talk to you guys later. Bye. I went over Palantir, Emmett. I said Jim Cramer said it was a good stock to buy. It ain't a good stock to buy when Jim Cramer says it's a good stock to buy. Algorithm got you out. If you want to take a look at, the earnings gap fill, look, it just hasn't made the move to start fill the gap. It hasn't. Take a look at Uber, and you take a look at a 5-minute of Uber, and this is a great quarter for Uber, and it started to fill the gap. Shopify hasn't started to fill the gap. So where do you want to buy? Hasn't started to fill the earnings gap yet. Still looks weak. Don't want to buy it. Yeah, Chris, I mean, App was great. App loving. I can't believe I missed on this one, but I really like the actual service on App. Now GCT, let's take a look at the 5-minute on GCT. Has this started to? That candle is crazy, by the way. I mean, this candle is an 11% candle on decent earnings. That is profit taking. This is profit taking 101. You still got some inside candles, so there's nothing that's pointing to, hey, we're going up. I think $35 is fine. I think it's putting in a nice, these inside candles while it shakes out here. Are you going to go lower? I mean, the 4-hour kind of indicates that it might get you out. I'm not too worried about it, though. To be honest with you, I'm just not too worried about this one. This one, I think, is going to be fine. And I know they say that a lot, but I do think that this one is going to be fine. Roblox is back under 30. Roblox, we can take a look at this one. If you look at the 5-minute candle, and we're not showing extended hours here. You're just looking at the 5-minute candles on this one. You're not seeing a gap. I mean, it just looks weak. It never showed you that it was going to gap fill. And you needed that first gap in order to see it. And I just don't see the strength in it. So, and right now you're getting a lot of stocks that seem to be getting hurt, the high flyers. Costco, 771. I mean, I bought a bunch at 730. 720, I think, is my average cost because I bought some at 710, 720, 730. Did it feel comfortable to sit there with this? No. But I'm up on that one. Let's see. Oh, Fidelity Investments called me. Okay. He's fine. I need to call him. Okay. I got to run. I'll do this, and then I will call Stu back. I hope you... Let me... Before I go, we'll do a... I was checking in on my Costco. Oh, I'm even today. It's Apple. It's Apple holding me up. Let's see. All positions. Ooh, I got my dividend on Apple. So I probably got a nice little bump here today. Let's see. Costco, I am up 5%. 5%. Can't argue with that. Nice 5% gain. Okay. I'm going to run. I'm getting hot under this light. It's an LCD light, but still get hot in this room for some reason. I will talk to you